Hey everybody, it's Logan Albright again. I just finished filming a video about the weird fiction of Algernon Blackwood, and it got me thinking about the genre as a whole. And I know I want to profile a lot of these authors in the future. But before I do that, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a treat, something that I just stumbled across that I really find interesting and useful if you're interested in the genre. It's an essay by H.P Lovecraft that he wrote and revised throughout the 1930s called Supernatural Horror in Literature. And I have it here in my complete fiction of H.P. Lovecraft volume, which is a Barnes & Noble edition. It's got kind of a shiny, translucent cover there. I think it's a really nice edition, and it's got everything he ever wrote about fiction in it. And in the back here, which I have bookmarked, there's this essay. Whoops. There's this essay, Supernatural Horror in Fiction. It's about 50 pages long. It was written, as I said, throughout the 1930s. I think it finally appeared complete in 1937. And what it basically is an exhaustive catalog of stories of supernatural horror that had been written up to that point, mostly in English, but also in other languages as well. He's done a very comprehensive job of cataloging pretty much every horror story that had been written up until the 1930s, which is pretty amazing. I mean, it's a long list. And it goes all the way back to the pre-Gothic novels, to the 16th, 17th century, when the first novels were really starting to become a thing. And it talks about Edgar Allan Poe. Of course, you can't talk about horror in literature without talking about Edgar Allan Poe, but he talks about all these influential authors. And I haven't worked my way through it all yet because there's so much there. But there's the classic contemporaries of him who I'm going to talk about. There's Algernon Blackwood and Arthur Machen and Robert Chambers and William Hope Hodgson and all those guys, and I'm going to get to those guys. But there's also, there's the Monk by Gregory Lewis, or Matthew Lewis, sorry, the Monk by Matthew Lewis. There's all these Gothic novels. There's just endless resources it would take years to get through all of it, of just beautiful horror and supernatural fiction written across Europe, across America, all over the place. Ghost stories. Everything you could imagine. He's an extensive section on Dickens, who wrote a lot of ghost stories, and people don't realize that. They think about the Christmas Carol, but Dickens wrote a lot of other ghost stories as well. Pretty amazing list. And not only is it a list, he also does editorializing on each of the works that he talks about and explains what's good about them, what he doesn't like about them. So as far as a reading list goes, if you're into weird fiction, you really can't do better than this essay. And this essay is available. I think it's available free online because it's in the public domain now. You can buy it really cheap from Dover Publications just as a standalone. As I said, this is in my complete edition, so I have it there. But I highly recommend it if you're looking for a reading list of this type of stuff, because you will not exhaust it. You'll keep coming back to it again and again and finding new stuff to read, which is really wonderful. Of course, the weakness of it is that it only goes up through the 1930s. And there's been a lot of great weird fiction written since then. So it's a starting place. But if you're interested in more modern stuff, you'll have to go elsewhere. But if you're like me and you like 19th century writing and you like the more old school type of language, this is just a wonderful resource. So before I profile all these authors and go through all these books, I wanted to give you this resource to go and look up Supernatural Horror in Literature by H.P. Lovecraft, so you can follow along and read these books with me, or you can just go and seek out your own things that you want to pursue and read some of these great stories by these great authors. All right, that's all I got for you right now. I'll be back with more weird fiction and other fiction too, not just weird fiction. I like all kinds of stuff next time. But thanks very much for watching. I've been Logan Albright.